Hello and welcome to the nest. My name's Steve Bird and these are my three boys, cull ducks, well actually cull drakes. There's a reason why I have drakes, which I'll explain later, but this is my aviary for the drakes, and I would like to talk to you and show you how it was made and hopefully convince you that this is the right way to make and look after ducks. Okay, I'll put you back, mate, in you go. So, you're thinking of having some ducks in your garden. Lots of factors that you're going to need to consider. First of all, please bear in mind that everything I tell you about my aviary is based on miniature ducks. I go for cull ducks because they're small, they don't need a massive amount of room. They do wander around the garden when I'm around, but most of the time they're in their aviary. If you're going to go for an Aylesbury or a Pekin, or a runner, or something of that size, you're going to need a bigger pen if you're going to have 4 or 5 ducks. So please consider that every pen that I show you today is based on miniature ducks. Then think about where you're going to place the pen. I would suggest right at the end of the garden, out of the way of any problems regarding smell of water. After a few days, the pond is going to smell a little bit, so you're going to need to change it after 2 or 3 days. Probably best that you keep it well away from the house. Also, you are going to get the occasional mouse looking for food. Make sure that your duck food is kept in a plastic container, nice and sealed so that mice can't get to it. But ducks are messy eaters, so there is going to be a little bit of food. Keep your ducks hungry so that they clear the pen up, but you are going to get the occasional mouse. The other reason why I would suggest moving your pen will keep you right at the end of the garden. So you find maybe top of the garden, bottom of the garden, whichever way you want to look at it. I've put this almost right at the very end of the garden. Next, maybe consider the position in height. Now this is quite a major factor in the way this one was built. As you can see, it's pretty high up. And the reason for that is, if you think about the very important pond, you've got to have a way of getting rid of all that water, and you want to be able to get rid of it quickly. The way I do it is simply through gravity. If it's high, then obviously you've got a way of sending water away. And gravity means a big hole for you to send the water down. The hole is going to need to be bigger than your pond. So you might have great ideas of the biggest pond ever, but make sure your hole is bigger than your pond, otherwise your water's not going to go away quickly. The next thing is, where do you put the hole? The best place is probably right underneath the pond. Open up, down it goes. Well, that will probably mean you need a plug, and if you do that, putting your hand in there once or twice a week, not the greatest thing to do. So the hole for your pond might need to be outside of your pen. Now, remember I said that hole's going to need to be big, so be prepared to dig and dig deep. Don't cut any corners with this hole, it's going to make or break everything that you do from then on. You're going to need to build it big, you're going to need to breeze block around it, you're going to need to make it strong. You've got 2 options. You can then fill it with rubble and have it like a soak away. Problem with that idea is that you're going to have to make such a big hole to take a small pond, whereas if you can leave it empty with no bricks in there at all, just one big hole, your hole won't need to be quite so big. The best advice I can give you for that is that once you've made your hole and you've breeze blocked around it, maybe cover it with slabs, or even better than that, gravel boards. My hole, I can't show you really because it's way down under. It's down this pipe, well covered, well hidden, so vermin can't get down it. I have a pipe here that leads all the way into my soak-away hole. As you can tell, I'm not really going to show you much of this one today. I have a second aviary. My hole is underneath my second aviary. So, I have a hole which now takes all the water. Because I've built my pond nice and high, all I have to do is connect a pipe from that end all the way into here. One other little thing that it also means is that if I want to water the garden with wonderful duck water, I can guide the pipe into certain borders. So there you go, great idea for making your pond nice and high so that you can use two possibilities. One, hose into the borders. Two, straight down and out of the way into a soakaway. Very important. Once you've got that right, the rest is plain sailing. Luckily for me, I can bricklay, or at least good enough for my garden. Dad taught me and it's been very useful. Apologies to any builders, my bricklaying is not fantastic, but it's, in my opinion, good enough for the garden, and it leaves me with the ability to use that skill to make the foundations of my duck aviaries. As you can see, it gives me the chance to raise everything up, as we've said before, to give us that height. So, pick your area, build your border, and that's your first and most important part of your aviary. Next, make sure you give yourself plenty of space all the way around. Lots of room so you can get all the way around the outside of your aviary so that you can maintain it and keep everything nice and clear. Lots of plants also, you'll notice, to soften it a little bit. But make sure you do your boundary, giving yourself plenty of room all the way around. 2, 1. So you've positioned your aviary, you've made a good decision on exactly where it's going, and you've built your perimeter, either out of gravel boards, sleepers or some type of wood, or as I've done, you build it out of bricks. Now, the fun part is the landscaping, the bit that the ducks are going to see and be part of the most. Whatever you do, everything needs to tip back into the pond. I use concrete. I particularly like that medium. I find concrete very easy to work with. I know it's quite a heavy material for a lot of people, but once mixed, and let's face it, it's not going to be the best mix in the world because it's only for ducks, but if you look at this, you can create all sorts of shapes, make it look quite landscaped. Drop the brick down and concrete over it, create a nice smooth effect. One thing to bear in mind, ducks don't particularly have hard-wearing feet, so it needs a little bit of something for them to rest on if they need to. That's why I always go for astroturf, a little bit of an area for them if they need it. Obviously they spend most of the time in the water. One other thing, my 3 boys don't need grit to make eggs. If you're going to keep ducks, you're going to need to give them a grit bowl so that they can find some grit, because with the concrete they're not going to be able to find any. So, landscape it how you feel best. Do the pond first, don't forget to put your pipe in. Use as big a wider pipe as you possibly can, because there's always going to be bits and pieces going down there and you don't want it to block. Put as few bends on it as you can, because again that might end getting blocked, so if you can keep it straight and down your hole, all the better. Concrete round it, do your pond first, and then a couple of days later you can then do your nice landscaping and enjoy it. Make it something that's going to look interesting and give the ducks something to jump up and down on a little bit. And my ducks love particularly the little post that's there for them. They sit on there and wait for me to come up the garden. And there you go. So, you've finished your base, you've got your pond all set, you've got your piping in, you've built your border and everything's nearly there. Finally, your framework. Now, I always choose timber, nice thick chunky timber to make it part of the garden. You may have other methods of making framework, but whichever way you use, make sure it's tight, make sure nothing can get in and nothing can get out. This is the most important thing. What you really want is to be able to sleep at night knowing that your animals are nice and safe. I always use weld mesh, nice and strong, pin it to the frame, and then a secondary pinning on the other side to protect the ducks from any scratches, but also to make sure, certainly on the top, that nothing can get on the top and start to claw their ways in. So make sure your framework is well prepared, well achieved, and above all, safe and sound for your ducks so that nothing can get them. Spend some time on it, design it well, and make sure that it looks part of the garden. Obviously, in this country especially, this has to be stained and treated every year. And enjoy it. Make sure that you've done something that looks good in the garden, not too industrial, and fits in as part of the garden. And once you've built this part, you're finished. So well done, and congratulations, you now have a great little place for your animals to live, for people to come and look at and enjoy. And it should be very low maintenance, which will make it the most fun of all. Once you've completed it and you're happy with it, make sure that everything around it is also fox-proof too. It's very easy for you to build something that's easy to get under, and foxes will get under things that are not solid. So again, try and make a feature of it, little pathway, giving yourself nice space all the way around. Make it interesting. I don't know whether you can notice my little thing here, but little planting, make it all nice and interesting. But above all, there's no way any predators are getting into my babies, who enjoy life because they know they're nice and safe. So finish it off well, make it part of the garden, and enjoy the creativity of it as well. So just one last thing that you might want to consider. As I say, this works completely maintenance on the outside, and if I can just squeeze in, I'll show you how my cleaning of the duck house takes on now. This rarely needs doing. These guys rarely go in here. I think they're happy enough where they are, but this actually works with a drawer. Actually, it's ready for a clean out, which we're about to do everything. But there you go, it's a drawer that I can actually pull completely out. I won't get it out now because it's a bit tight, and I can just clean it from the outside. Then pop it back in there. I can get it in with one hand. There we go, nice and safe. Good solid door, again to stop any foxes or anything. Nice and strong, just to make sure Mr. Fox can't get in on that way, and close it up. So there you go. Maintenance all done on the outside of the pen. Don't really need to go inside, and what I'm going to do now is to finish off. I'm going to run you through, probably with a bit of music rather than my boring face, and demonstrate how this all gets cleaned out. In about 20 minutes I can have this done. I'll time it this time and we'll see just how long it takes, but thanks for watching. I'm going to clean them out now, so hope you enjoy it. Thanks very much.